Hi everyone, I'm Ferd and welcome to my video. Today I'm working on a Husqvarna push mower. It's got the Kohler engine in it. And it's one of those deals where you think you know what the problem is, but it is and it ain't. It's actually a lot of several different things going on with it that's causing it to act the way that it is. This mower I've been servicing for years. It's always been a good mower. One of these that starts right up the first pole. Here lately, it just hasn't been. Let's get into video, get this thing fixed, see what's wrong with it, and get it back to its owner. Enjoy the video. Okay, I'm gonna see if I can get this thing started to give you a good idea of how it's acting. Probably won't. Very hard to start. It's not going to start without me putting gas in it, and I don't want to do that. What happens when it does start, it'll run for just a few seconds and die. I dealt with this last year. Rebuilt the carburetor on it, put new fuel line on it, blew the tank out, so I know there's no obstructions. And I've rebuilt the carburetor already this time since I've had it, and I've had the same results. And it's like beating your head against the wall over and over and over again, expecting different results. And it's time to change the carburetor. So it's going to get a new carburetor, a new coil, new spark plug, new air filter. The cover was broke, so I got a new cover for it. And let's put the carburetor on it and see how it runs. Well, the first thing I want to do is get all this stuff off the top of it. Number 10. Got to take the gas cap off of this one. Get my nuts out of there before I lose them. They fall down in there, they're hard to get to. Take the starter off, set it back there. The carburetor's got 3 bolts, 1 bolt and 2 nuts. Take that one off. These 2 right here. And we want to pinch off that fuel line. Got a breather hose on the back of the breather right here. We could pull the breather all the way off of it. Okay, we'll disconnect the fuel line. Next thing we got to do, coming over here by the exhaust, I want to loosen this nut here. Actually, I'm going to take this nut all the way off of it. There's a stud welded to the muffler. That's a number 10. And then down here on the side of it, right down in here, there's another number 10. We'll loosen that up. And then I can lift this whole thing off of there, like that. Just leave that there for right now. Okay, now we're coming back over here to the carburetor. There's our thermostat for our choke. And you've got a Torx head screw right here. This is a number 20, T20, and then another one over here on this side. Let's take those off of it. And then now we can take our choke off of it. We're just going to turn it that way and pull it straight off. Like that there. And then I'm going to turn this out of there and put it away so we don't lose it. It's got to go on a new carburetor. We're going to slide our carburetor out about 1/2 to 3/4 of the way. And you might have to bend your throttle rod a little bit, but it just pulls right up out of there. Just turn it that way and pull it right out. then we could take our spring off of it, which is a lot harder than taking that rod off. There we go. Let all that stuff sit right over there, and there's our carburetor. Here's our new one. Just want to make sure when you buy one for this particular model that it's got these threaded holes for your choke. It's on this side. Threaded holes for the choke. And then on the other side, we've got a vacuum pull off that's going to go on there. And then it should have a little nipple on this side of it for that hose that's going around it. So we need to transfer that onto this. Before I put this new carburetor on there, I want to share something with you. I mean, my head keeps going around and around with this thing and trying to put together the problems that I was having. I was rebuilding the carburetor. Everything looked perfect in there. It was clean and fine. So I thought, well, let's dig a little deeper. And we're going to pull this gasket off right here. You got a plate behind it. You pull this plate off. And then there's another gasket behind there that you can see. Now, if I flip over the back side of this gasket, you're looking at the back side of it. And if you can see this right here, this area right in here, you can see where it wasn't sealing. There's like this space in between the gasket here. Now, if you look at this thing where it makes contact, you can see where there's a space here. It looks kind of rough, almost like somebody sanded it on these four corners here. Now on the back side, it kind of looks a little normal. There's nothing obvious there. But if you look at this gasket on the back side real good, you can see where it's wet around this side of it over here. Little space, and then it's wet right here, and then it's dry. I'm thinking that there's air getting sucked down in between that plate. But I'm going to make a new gasket for this. I'm going to see if I can't flatten this thing out. And I'm going to put the old carburetor back on it and see how well this thing runs. This is just a little scrap piece of 180 that I found. Got it on a flat surface. That looks like it should be pretty flat. Now, with these two little divots up here on the top, I don't see anything other than they may supply a little bit of extra support for the gasket. They don't fit into anything. There's just two extra holes in the gasket. I'm going to be using a thicker gasket on it, and I need to get this flat because I'm thinking this is where my problem is. So those are coming off of there. This is 80 grit. And I'm going to knock them off there first. Nice and flat on both sides. Let me make me a gasket. We'll put this thing on there. Stick that old carburetor on there and see what happens. Okay, let's see if it starts with the old carburetor in it and see if I fixed it or if I was just wasting my time. Got a putt. that's running awful fast. Got it running. It's not starting and then instantly dying a few seconds later. So I think I fixed some of the problem, but still it's harder than hell to start. This thing should start the first pole. And you can see I got to tug on this thing 2 or 3 times and it's not starting again. So let's put the new carburetor on it. I've went ahead and made 2 new gaskets. Small one that we couldn't hardly get off of it. We got our plastic spacer. Put that on there. And then I made the big gasket as well. Okay, we got our new vacuum pump hooked up to it. I'm going to go ahead and hook this fuel line up. Put the governor spring back down in that little hole right here. Get our throttle rod back in it. There it went. This can be a little tricky. We're just going to take the Z-bend in, go down through that choke first with it, and just work it around until we got it on there like that. You want that Z to be facing this way and out. And then we're going to take our choke thermostat rod and just feed it in there like this. And now we can bolt it down. Now, before I tighten the other side of it down over here, I'm going to go ahead and put the coil on it. And it just makes it a little easier to get this plug wire off of it and up and around it. If you haven't done so yet, you got that little sleeve that I pulled off earlier. Take that off of it. And loosen this up. Take it off. Take this bolt off. Let me unplug this thing first. This is our kill wire. It's got some wear to it. And it may be a little weak. We'll find out when we start this thing up. Get a coil. Probably seen it a million times before. Got it pulled back. Gonna pull the magnet right there in the middle of it. Put my business card down in there. And I'm gonna loosen these two up. Magnet pulls them to the flywheel. I got about a 10/1000 inch gap. I'll snug these down real good. Get my business card out of there. And our coil's installed. So before I put that on there, I'll go ahead and get my new one snapped down. And go ahead and install the thermostat. Plug the kill switch back in it before I forget. We're ready to put our breather back on. Plug that tube in. Put our top back on it. Don't forget your little sleeve. Starter. Turn the gas loose and let it fill that carburetor up while we're doing this. Let's get her down and start it up. Let's see if we did any good. That's perfect. That's how it should start. That's how it should run. Now, that's the good old mower that I'm used to working on. If you made it this far in the video, thank you for watching. If you liked it, hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel. The channel's growing. Lots of videos up there. And I got a lot more coming. Hit that notification bell and be the first one to know when I put them up there. If you've got one of these little problem mowers and you're beating your head against the wall with it and you just can't figure it out, don't keep rebuilding the carburetor on it like I did. The first time should tell you. Step back. If it takes you a day or so, give it some thought, come back to it, and you'll figure it out. And in the whole process of it, have fun.